This is Abe Friedtanzer from Awards Watch, and I'm so thrilled to be speaking with Wendy Tilby and Amanda Forbis, the team behind The Flying Sailor. How are you both doing today?
We're great.
Just fine, thank you.
Wonderful. Can you tell me how you first heard about this incredible true story and what made you think it was a perfect fit for animation?
We were at a museum in Halifax, Nova Scotia, over 20 years ago, and there was a section that was dedicated to the story of the explosion, which a lot of people outside Canada don't know about. It's infamous in Halifax for obvious reasons. Just a quick rundown, it was the largest explosion the world had ever seen to that point in history, and was the largest up until the nuclear bomb. So it was a biggie, and it blew down half of Halifax, and happened because two ships collided in a harbor, and one of them was just loaded up with dynamite. So just a dumb little accident led to this terrible result. So obviously it was a very interesting display, and there was a blurb about this guy, Charles Mayers, who had been thrown 2 kilometers and landed in a place called Fort Needham Park, alive, naked, but basically okay. And we thought to ourselves, what was that trip like for him? What would that be like to be him in that moment? And that held our interest for the next 17 years or so, until we actually got around to making it.
And what was most important for you to showcase in his incredible journey?
Well, we took our inspiration from near-death experiences, which we read a lot of accounts, and they are fascinating, in large part because they are so much all the same. People really do report the slowing of time, the crystallization of certain memories, the sometimes dead loved ones they see. They feel their body becoming weightless and sort of at one with the universe. And even the white light is something that people very often experience. And so those became our cues for what we would show, and the journey, the arc of his journey. And but we were really interested in his ride as a kind of a very visceral, subjective experience. And the memories that he sees are kind of a smattering of just little bits and pieces, nothing too profound or important from the viewer's point of view, but to him they would be kind of encapsulated in his being, and they would disappear if he should die. And we wanted to make that point, that to him they are profound. And then when he becomes almost a little particle in the universe, we were intending to show the insignificance as well at the same time.
And what was most challenging to be able to show on screen with the animation?
Well, the 3D, honestly. We're 2D animators, and so this was new territory for us, and we just weren't mentally prepared for it. We had a Maya artist working with us, and he moved mountains because he did it almost by himself. We had some help with smoke and clouds, but Billy Dyer did most of it, blew down Halifax. So we just we didn't realize how long a process it was, and how difficult it was to achieve what we wanted to. So that was the toughest. The film itself, in terms of the idea and the themes, that was just really a pleasure. Mostly it was the mechanics of it that got us down, but still I would say overall it was quite a fun film to make.
Yeah, and we very deliberately try different techniques, go into new territory. We don't like repeating ourselves too much.
You mentioned that this is a very significant event in Canada. Has the reception from Canadians been different from the rest of the world that you've seen?
I think they're a little less disinclined to believe it. So they
That's a double negative. Yeah.
I think they go, oh yeah, Halifax explosion, because they know how catastrophic it was, whereas a lot of people say, really, could that really have happened? But if it's Halifax in particular, I'm pleased to say that the people we've talked to are very pleased that we've made this film because to them it's a piece of their history, huge piece of their history that's not talked about very much. And a lot of them have a very personal connection to it. They have grandparents, great aunts, uncles, people, distant relatives who died in it. So it means a lot to them, and it's kind of still a very sensitive subject for them. So we wanted to make sure we didn't do them a disservice.
It actually was kind of a fine line that we were walking with that, because there is humor in it, and that's just sort of the way we roll. We like that combination of sort of gravity and a little bit of comic elements to it, but we didn't want to diminish in any way the seriousness of the actual event, and we wanted to have suggestions of the actual collateral damage that was going on down below the sailor, and by having these artifacts of like a shoe, a pair of glasses, a chair, these very domestic objects that were up there with him, that suggest there's some real damage going on below. But what we're showing you is the sailor's story for this. We didn't want this in any way to be a document of the Halifax explosion. So we've heard from some Haligonians, as they are called, that they feel it's just fine. But we were a little worried about offending, I guess.
It's hard to show the other people without getting into serious gore.
Yeah.
And we didn't want to do that.
Of course. Well, I think it strikes a very nice balance.
Thank you.
If you haven't seen the film yet, you can watch via The New Yorker. Thank you both for taking some time to speak with me today, and best of luck at the Oscars.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Nice to talk to you.
You too.